Good evening, everyone. A very happy new year. I welcome you all to this first edition of our virtual canteen for the year 2021. And I'm greatly honored and proud to welcome two of our honorable speakers today, Honorable Miss Justice Rekha Palli, sitting judge of Delhi High Court, and Mrs. Maninder Acharya, senior advocate and a former ASG. Ma'am, thank you so much for agreeing to participate in this virtual canteen and encourage us with your time and your precious advice. The topic for the day is curating career in law and litigation, challenges and opportunities. And we couldn't have looked at any other person but two of you to speak on this topic. And I must also say that there are a lot of, apart from young lawyers, there are a lot of law students and the young pass outs who have joined today's canteen. We are all looking forward to hear from you and your stories and prepare ourselves to face challenges and how to turn challenges into opportunities. So thank you once again. With this, I would take a brief minute to introduce our speaker for the day, Honorable Miss Justice Rekha Palli. She's a student of she did her schooling from Lady Irwin College and Lady Irwin School and College Hindu College. 1986 pass out from the Campus Law Center. She joined the bar and practiced in Punjab and Haryana High Court for some time before shifting her base to Delhi. And in 1991, ma'am qualified advocate on record exam. And since then, she's been till 2015 when she was designated as a senior advocate. She represented private individuals, she represented women, she represented government before Supreme Court, Delhi High Court, armed tribunals, and she was the senior counsel for the Union of India. She was the counsel for the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, various universities, schools. She has got landmark judgments as far as your service matters are concerned, civil side is concerned. And to this, to all the audiences, those who are, one of the most celebrated judgment last year was entry of women in the permanent commission. And it was ma'am who spearheaded that entire litigation in Delhi High Court. And also she was representing them in the Supreme Court before she got elevated as a judge. In fact, the Delhi, another celebrated judgment has been on the domestic violence case, where ma'am heard the matter for months and decided that issue in favor of women, giving giving full scope and full interpretation of the shared household. And that judgment was finally upheld by the Supreme Court, and it's been widely celebrated. And it's one of the landmark judgments as far as the women's right to property is concerned. So with this, I welcome you, ma'am, and may I request my co-moderator for the day to introduce our next speaker, Naomi?
Yeah, thank you, Sunita. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Maninder ma'am, Mrs. Maninder Acharya, whom I've really always looked up to. I don't know if she remembers, but I've always hovered around my seniors in my even younger days and, looked keenly up to her. She has a charming way of narrating professional and personal journey. She has these snippets and, which I have observed and absorbed over the years. So ma'am, for the formal introduction, which I must do now here for this session, Maninder ma'am graduated in science from Punjab University and completed LLB from Delhi University in 1990. She enrolled as an advocate with the Bar Council of Delhi and joined the chambers of Mr. Mukul Rohatgi. From 93 onwards itself, she started practicing independently and started appearing before the Supreme Court, Delhi High Court, and various other courts in Delhi and other states. She practiced primarily on the civil side and argued on a wide spectrum of subjects, including that of administrative law, arbitration, municipal service law, education law. I mean, she's a well-known name in the Delhi High Court itself. She was appointed as an amicus curiae in several matters by the Honorable Delhi High Court and has acted as an arbitrator in many matters and has penned several awards. In 2005, a division bench of the Honorable High Court appointed Ma'am as a convener of a committee tasked to submit report on the free treatment provided to indigent people of Delhi by hospitals built on land allocated by DDA on a concessional rate. So pursuant to this report submitted under her convenership, the Delhi High Court directed the concerned hospitals to provide 10% IPD and 25% OPD treatment completely free of cost to the poor. In 2013, Ma'am got designated as a senior counsel by the Delhi High Court and has continued to have presence over the Supreme Court, High Court, all over the country. In 2018, the Union of India appointed Ma'am as an additional Solicitor General of India and for Delhi High Court, and she represented the Union of India on various important matters pertaining to constitutional law, drug pricing, NIA, money laundering matters, matters pertaining to SFIO, etc. In 2019, the business world conferred upon her an award titled Star Litigator Female for her achievements in the profession. In the same year, the Bar Association of India also awarded her the Plaque of Honor and distinction for outstanding contribution to the development of legal profession in India. So welcome, ma'am. Welcome, Justice Palli. Looking forward to, I'm hand it over back to Sunita to start the session with some of the questions that we are very keen to ask both of you.
Thank you, Naomi. Ms. Honorable Justice Rekha Palli, may I request ma'am to share your journey in law, both as a lawyer and as a judge? Because as Naomi said, we hover around our seniors, we look up to them like spawns, trying to absorb everything that falls from them, right from making notes in diary to how to research and how to. So that is how we travel as law entrants. So you started your career as a lawyer at a fairly young age. So looking at your the timeline, it seems that you had no doubt as to this is the area, this is the field that you want to go or you want to pursue. So may I request you, ma'am, to share your journey so that we can know a little bit, because we see all the success stories are there for everybody to see, but the kind of effort that goes into building a successful career in this profession, that is something only those who are very close to you, they observe, they see, and they gather. But today, by using this forum, we want to make those stories available to everybody and take their inspiration from. Ma'am.
Thank you, Sunita, and for a very a very generous introduction, and a very good evening to everybody. I mean, Friday evening was the time you would all go out. Normal days as lawyers, you wouldn't be wanting to sit and hear somebody. But I'll assure you, I'm not going to give you a speech or a lecture. This is going to be, when you say it's a canteen, I am actually going to talk to you like we would do in the canteen. And first, I must thank you for getting Miss Acharya on board, because a lot of the part of my journey I've shared with her. We have both sat together outside courts discussing not court matters.
Gleaming together.
Discussing problems about children, about solving maths problems, about German, because I was very good at German. I'll come to that. So I must also compliment you girls. I would rather use the word girls instead of saying women lawyers. I can see a lot of you very young people here, and I feel, Ms. Oja, the way you argued the matters, I should call all of you young, budding, young girls. That's the compliment I want to give all of you. You have so much exuberance on your faces that you can't be called as those women there. So a very good evening to all the young girls who have joined, and of course all others who may have joined. Now and I must also compliment you for thinking of this innovative idea of having a women lawyers forum, where you can actually interact informally. See, because what I felt when I read about your organization was that this is something very informal. It's not, it's the place where you are actually wanting to exchange thoughts and not discuss only professional things. That's what I felt. Now, coming to my journey, as you said, I must talk about it. As you said, and you rightly caught me, that I joined this, for me, I joined this profession at the age of 23 and a half. And I was, for me, it was not a second choice or a third choice, as you mostly hear in those farewell lectures or others, that I came in law by chance. I'll be very candid about it. I did BSc from Hindu College. I was offered scholarship for MSc, but I was very clear I wanted to do law. I didn't know what it was going to be. My mother, who was a teacher at that stage, she was not very comfortable with the idea, because she thought that girls are not meant for this profession. That I'm talking of those 80s, when people were, but somehow I had a feeling that I will do it. I was wanting, and this is one profession where I felt I will do what I want to do the amount of work I want to do. I don't want to do, I can leave it. That's one of the main reasons when I started off. It needs, you wanted an, and another very thing that I am one of another those of people who got married at the age of 23. Mohit? As a lawyer, getting married at 23, joining a family where my father-in-law was a senior advocate at that stage. He kind of told me, you're not going to sit home. You have to join the profession. And that's where my journey started at 24 in Punjab Haryana High Court. So when you talk of how everybody's journey is very different. You will have people who want to work, younger girls who want to work for 5-6 years, and then say, okay, now we want to settle down. For me, it was the other way around. I just completed my law and got married, and then actually joined the profession. So I will say that this is a profession which gives you, which is an all embracing profession. It is going to absorb you whenever you come in. Whenever you come in, you may come at 23, 24, you may come at 32. It's not a profession which is going to not give you a chance to put in your best, give in your best at that stage. So the journey, as I said, for me, the journey was, I will say, and then when I shifted to Delhi after 2 years, because that's when my husband and I thought we must practice here in the Supreme Court. I was a young mother when I became a AOR. Why I'm sharing all this with you is because you will really have to realize that all these things have to go side by side. You have the profession, as I said, if you choose a profession with your passion, then just because you have those other responsibilities, like my son was 6 months old when I sat for the AOR exam, but that did not deter me, because I was very clear that I will do it. I have to work, I will work, and I will do it. So these are the kind of things in my journey. And now if you think of it, how to get work, or how did I start coming? As Ms. Sen, I see her every day appearing for a lot of Union of India and lot of DD. I think you were appearing for DDM also, Ms. Sen, now today, or SDMC. See, because when I came to Delhi, I didn't know anybody in the profession here. There was no senior, nobody. I just jumped into the fray, became an AOR, started getting some matters from Punjab Haryana High Court, where I had kind of worked. I was noticed because there were very few girls there at that stage. Delhi also had a handful of lady lawyers. Miss Acharya will vouch for that. But Chandigarh and High Court had even lesser. So you start your work gradually on a panel maybe, or whatever way you can get. And then gradually, if you work hard, you are noticed. People will come to you on their own. That's one point I want to assure all the girls. All the young girls sitting here, they have to be very clear. They have to just get that straw in the beginning, take whatever you get. And the main thing I will want all these young girls is to remember that court is a place where your performance is watched every day. When you come to court, you are noticed not only by your colleagues, but also by clients sitting in the courtroom. The moment you get up to argue a matter, you are noticed by everybody sitting there. So your body language, your confidence should be there. Your self-esteem should be there. You should argue in a manner that everybody should say, yes, this is a person I would want to take. So please, please never, even if you are not too sure of a answer to a question in the court, tell the court frankly with confidence that this is something I have not examined. And I'm telling you now with my experience on this side that the courts will be very, very willing to accommodate you. So now coming to my further journey, as you know, all know, from the panel we started, even if we had one matter, we would not miss court. That is what I learned early in the profession. Please never miss court, even if you don't have many matters. Even if you have one matter, please come to court, come for 2 hours, go back. But you must be noticeable in the court. Otherwise, there is nobody who's going to give you work unless you have those connections somewhere. That's a different thing. So my suggestion to all the girls would be that you must come to court every day if you're serious about the profession. And also remember that the profession is only a part of your life. Lead a holistic life. Don't get stressed. A lot of girls you will see are saying we are not getting work. Please be happy. That you're happy, you will work. I think Ms. Oja will want to ask me something more now. Or you want me to continue on my own way, in my own way?
No, ma'am. Why? So,
Yes,
ma'am,
Ms.
we'll
Oja.
come back to, yeah, we will come back with more questions. But thank you for sharing this part of it.
That's what I thought. I've given you my general overview of what I thought was.
Yes. So there are the two transitions that you spoke about as a lawyer. Yes, the law was your first choice, and you joined the profession. That was a 3 years law course. Now the kids are joining at a much younger age. After +2, they do a 5 years
Yes.
course, and they straight away come to the court. Another one was that how you steered through the motherhood as well as your legal profession simultaneously. That is, and practicing as an AOR, because that also requires a lot of late evening work and the last for the next day preparation, etc. And we'll come back to the your challenges. There are some more. I think Naomi wanted to ask Ms. Acharya on her legal journey.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, it is really exhilarating to see all of you there. And in fact, before I start talking about my journey, I have seen you all grow because I came earlier than you. So I have seen Ravi argue passionately and then I giving my comments to her. I have seen Varisha with all her might opposing the cases, all alone sometimes. Heavy in confidence. I've seen Sunita and Nandita, the hero of many, and many others, all of you, Naomi, Malvika Trivedi, with whom we've discussed law endlessly, and all of you. So it gives me I can't say it gives me endless pleasure to know that you are all at different parts of journey, and I actually see you reaching at different places in the coming future, and clapping for you and being proud of all of you. And it feels very good that we have a substantial force of women who will watch us today also, and they will achieve many more milestones and also break many more those framed stereotypes about the women in times to come. And they will add on to this journey so that the later on people who join, it becomes encouraging for them. So it's really great to be here. As far as my journey is concerned, I'm a science graduate, and I was doing my master's in science, in anthropology, and about a subject about which I was really passionate. I also used to write in the newspapers while I loved journalism also. I hadn't yet decided that what I will do in coming future, but because of certain reasons, personal reasons, I had to sort of leave my MSc in between soon after joining it. And I came to Delhi. This was all in Chandigarh. And then I started writing, and I did a bit of teaching as the circumstances required at that time in school. And then thereafter, I did a little stint with journalism also. And also small journal was from Bharati Vidya Bhavan, because I love words, written words, to read, to write. I am hungry for anything that is written. So as a child, I would read even those newspapers, which would be a packaging material, something came, I would start reading it. So therefore, actually my husband and my fiancé then, he suggested that more than journalism, I would be more successful in law. And a bigger feminist he is than me, he got my form filled, and he told me with my sister, and this is how I got admitted into law college. And thereafter I completed my law. Now, after I joined the chambers of Mr. Rodgi. It was a full chamber, lots of work and lot of competition. One was better than another in that chamber. And for a woman, for a girl, her dreams to be taken seriously, and for her to be taken seriously as a lawyer amongst your colleagues and amongst the clients who came, you really had to work hard. In that, Mr. Rodgi was a very, very fair senior, and we never had any problem in the chamber per se. But we had this zeal in us. It really made a dream. So we would be given files to read in the evening, and all of us would be distributed files. And such was the zeal that there were 2 juniors in his chamber who were women. So what we used to do was, we used to read our files we would take home to read. But we would exchange the files, and I would read her files first, so that I get to read double number of files. And this is how the journey started. What is important in this journey is, I'll tell you, before anybody what you can do, you have to be sure what you can do. You see, in your mind, you have to be sure about your capabilities. You don't require any validation or anyone else to tell you that you can do this or you can't do this. You can limit yourself, or you can make yourself fly without any limitations. So first of all, in my own mind, I never had those limitations. And I never thought of myself as a woman lawyer. I thought of myself as a lawyer. Any lawyer, because I was a woman lawyer. Because I didn't think that skills and the capabilities have any gender, or any gender would make them less or more. And what I would say, as Naomi said, that I have those snippets, I would repeat what Justice Palli said, that you have to come to the court every day, whether you have work or you don't have work. So I remember when I had my first son, and he was 3 months old, and when I didn't have any work in the court, because it was just my in the court, and I was now independent. So it is not as if there were matters waiting for me to be argued in the court, but we had been taught by our seniors that every day 10 o'clock you have to be in the court, whatever it may be. It's not that your matter is at 12, so you walk in at 11. So every day I reached court at 10:30. At times I used to feel bad that I'm leaving. I used to think that I'm leaving my son behind and I have no work in the court. But yet I kept coming. If you can ask me what are the takeaway points which make us succeed, there are, in this profession, I'll again choose Justice Palli's words, that there are, I would put it like this, there are n number of ways of succeeding in this profession. You can choose to be solicitor, you can choose to argue, you can choose to do more work, you can choose to do less work. You can practice in one side, or you can be a specialist, you may not be a specialist. So, but just be at it. And the qualifications are passion. It's the zunoon that you have, the passion to work. So that passion has to be there. Passion, hard work. Just tune off from the word about any other thing. Nothing should bother you. And it's that single-minded attention towards your work, which is what makes you take further. Work will come. There is no way, if you have merit and you have hard work, the work will not come. work will come. It has to come. It will come. So whatever little small things you can, I see small appeals. One old tenant from Old Delhi used to give me. He used to give me 1100 rupees per appeal, inclusive of expenses. But he used to give me 3-4 appeals per month. Then I did a lot of work pro bono. Anybody who wanted to file was not in a position to pay. I used to do, and that I carried on, and I till now carry. I mean, if you can't pay my fee, that doesn't matter. If I can do some work for you, I would still do it. So those are the things. They gave me a way to. So standing on my 2 legs and arguing and preparing the matter a night before gave me a real kick. Everything else was a byproduct. Money was a byproduct. Whether anybody appreciated me or not was a byproduct. I could prepare my matter and argue. That is what gave me the kick to remain in this profession. And I will end by saying that when you start, it's not a bad time. It's a very beautiful time. It's a time when you have to think how to pay your juniors if you have one. I mean, we friends have shared juniors also. To begin with, we used to share one junior between the two of us. So that also we've done. And so, but right now is the time when I was discussing with Ms. Oja, you are curating it, you are building it. So it's not necessary that you will always get great work to do, but you will always get a small work to do in a great manner, which will be noticed by people around you. So whatever you get, small matter, a pro bono matter, just a small appearance, somebody asks you to do for her or him while he or she is unwell, leave your mark, add value to it. It must have some stamp of your having been there. So, and if that happens, nobody can stop it. It will come. Even when you don't want, it will come. That is what I can assure you about. So there is, as Justice Palli said, be happy. Just do your work. Whatever you have today, do it. So it will take.
So our takeaway from this first round is be in the court, whether you have a matter or you don't have a matter. Take any matter that comes your way, give your best to it, whether it is paid, not paid, less paid, and still that itself. And thirdly, just continue to push yourself. That, ma'am, my question to Justice Palli is, over the years, it's been like from 1986 till now we are in 2021. It's a long duration. It's like a huge span of time. Have you curated, as ma'am used the term, Maninder Acharya ma'am, curated any list of do's and don'ts with respect to what is, how do you go about? What is absolutely do for you and what is absolutely not, not to be done as far as this profession is concerned? And I also want to hear some stories because, see, as we look at your career, Mrs. Acharya's career, these are the successful career, people who survived, who stayed, survived, thrived, and they broke glass ceilings at various levels, and they made a mark. Today, both of you are standing at a position where we would like to imitate, we would like to follow that path, ma'am. That's the kind of path. But there were so many people who kind of, who got dropped out. So where is your, if you could just share some of those stories, some of those do's and don'ts that you have curated over a period of time, just watching those who were successful and those who kind of dropped out.
See, Ms. Oja, when you talk about these things, first thing as I said in the beginning also, first thing is you have to have your patience. You don't have to lose heart when you're not getting work. In fact, that is the time when you can use to keep reading, and keep watching how others are arguing. That is one thing. I think I did it for at least 10 years in the initial. Just come to the bar room, have a smile, it will give you a very different feeling. You come out from the house, come to the barroom, go to the court, even if you, so the patience, I would say, especially for women, because women, when they leave a at home, when they come, they actually they come and feel as if we should get a work and get a matter quickly. That's not the, that's the key is to have patience. This is a profession which does take time, but as Ms. Acharya said, if you are good, if your dedication comes out, there will be never any dearth of work. So that is first thing. Second thing, on your self-esteem and your intuition. Now, when I'll come to a case, I'll talk about a case, and your intuition, your self-esteem, and your confidence. But confidence should be not a hollow confidence. It should be when you have read your file so well that even if your opposite counsel says no, this is the point, you should know it by word. That's for the beginners. Even the beginners should read that much. That's my advice for everybody. Try, do it whenever you want to. Now, coming to intuition, like as you talked about the famous case of the permanent commission for women, this matter started actually in 2005. I will not name the persons, but I will definitely tell you some things which will actually show how the mentality was at that stage. 2005, when one of the lady officers, and not an officer coming from outside, she was an army officer who was part of the legal cell for the Delhi High Court. She used to come to court, and she became friendly to me. And suddenly one day she said, "Ma'am, I don't want to leave the army. I think this is something we should. I have worked for 8 years. I am doing better than my other colleagues. Why should I not get a permanent commission?" That's when the seed came, and nobody at that time, 2004, 5, people were not even thinking. It was unheard of that army will have women or the Air Force will have women as permanent officers. And I still remember the day when I filed a petition. Court number 2 was the court. The court was about to dismiss it. It took me a lot to persuade the court, saying, "No, you have to consider this. I'm not." He said, "You have joined the army." That was the answer I got from the court. "You have joined the army knowing that you are coming in only for 10 years or 14 years. How can we rewrite the terms of the contract?" That's and this is all, and the rest is somehow the court did understand. Finally, he said, "Okay, if you can argue so much, maybe if you're all right, we'll hear it and at length." The petition was admitted. After 2 years, it was taken up by another bench. The things had changed. The perception of the bench was different. The I mean, today I must acknowledge it publicly. Probably if it was not the bench which actually acknowledged things had changed, today these women would have not got it, because going to Supreme Court was a second story. A lot of them would have got dissuaded at that stage.
Yes.
That's where the court, and that's where the court held the hand at that point of time when people were not even. So this is a case which actually taught me, and I will say I know it's a public forum, but I can still say maybe the male officers of the army used to come and say even after judgment was reserved, their reaction was, we will probably leave the army if women get in. But ultimately they all got it. So this was a turning point in my career, which actually also gave me more confidence to trust my intuition, that yes, I felt this was right. And of course, destiny was there. As I said, the bench was willing to hold hands, bench was willing to understand that women, if they have given their 10 years, it's not an experiment that you will use them for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, and then throw them out. Just because at that time when they joined, I'm talking of women who joined the army or Air Force or Navy in 92, 93. That time we were in those times when it was really an experiment. But because of their work, you kept giving them extensions. So this is one case where I felt that your intuition, your mindset will help you go steer forward. So I would request all of you, there are so many issues which are still to be tackled, for not only for women, but in general. And if any of you are confident about it and any of you feel this is something it should be done, please try. Please try. Don't think this is not possible, and don't go by advice what seniors or people with 40 years practice will give you. Go with what you feel is coming. those experienced people can guide you in the provisions, they can guide you, but law is dynamic. The judges are also changing. We are willing to charter, as Ms. Oja, you also spoke, I'll come to that case later. Judges are also willing to give you that, hold your hand if you are willing to charter a little territory. That's one very important factor I feel is relevant for all of you who, especially who are not doing corporate, who are not doing a set kind of practice, who are willing. That's because that was my forte. I used to argue basically primarily writ petitions when I joined. And then another thing which I learned very early was that there'll be a lot of lawyers, I'm not referring to anybody, who would snigger at you when they would see, oh, this young girl has come to argue, I'll handle her. That's the comments I have heard outside the court. I still remember a matter in the criminal court. I was not known to be a very good criminal lawyer in the High Court, though I had a lot of practice in Supreme Court on the criminal side. They would feel, there was a matter I still remember, opposing a bail petition, a bail matter. A very seasoned senior counsel who was for the petitioners was, oh, he said, oh, they've got her for the complainant, now we'll take it. This is something I heard with my own ears, and that made me read more and more. I was prepared with every line of, I knew every witness what he had said, what it was, because this was and ultimately when the judgment came, and that first thing when I started, the counsel for the petitioner tells the court, oh, she's a complainant's counsel, she can't be heard. The court was also nice. The court said, all right, we'll hear the state, but it's all right. And these are those kind of matters which help you to realize that those people who were sniggering at you were basically unsure of themselves. They only thought, because they were in their homes, maybe they were used to having women not even talking properly, or not even, so don't go by their mindset. Do what you think is right. And this is not that I faced this when I was younger. I faced it even after becoming a senior counsel. I was when people started engaging me for corporate matters. There was a matter in the first, I think one of the first matters as a senior counsel when I was before the company law board, a very seasoned counsel from the other side. Oh, she doesn't know this company field. I mean, you will not let anybody do that to you. Please promise that to me. People who are there, I will not. We are still going to be in court. I will want all of you to appear, and I don't want to have that feeling ever that a male colleague should be able to say, oh, I can do this. I will want all of you to come forward, read, as she said. I have done, as I said, I brought up 2 children who were very young. When we had a file, after 11, I would sit till 2, 3, 4. We've all worked like that, because multitasking is a quality which I think only women have. Very few men, sorry, I would say, with all apologies, even to my husband, they can't multitask. Very few of them. And so you have to learn that. And please be happy about it, because that is something which God has gifted you. God has given you this, that you can do your job as well as you can, as in fact better than a lot of, maybe better than a lot of men also, but you can also simultaneously run a home. Even as lawyers, we would, when we would come to court, even when we became very busy counsels, it was my duty, probably I would go tell the kitchen, this is what I had trained staff who was now doing it. But then also you had to kind of tell them, this is what is to be prepared. Please tell me, I'll get something back on the way. I mean, that, and you should take pride in this. I am sorry. I mean, there are some girls I've seen do crib that we have to run a home. We don't have the time to read. That's not what I'm accepting. Somehow that is not acceptable to me from any person who wants to stay in this profession. You have the ability. This is your own time. Enjoy your profession, and work and money will come. I mean, you want to, I think Ms. Acharya and some others should also get an opportunity. I can go on and on. On criminal matters, I can go on. And I mean, I've done matters. I don't know, some of you are very good criminal lawyers sitting here. I mean, I remember doing a matter in the Supreme Court where the man was convicted by both courts. He took a defense of self-defense, but nobody believed him. because there were a lot of injuries on the person, the deceased, and he ultimately in Supreme Court when he came, and this is when I was quite young. I read the file 3-4 times and I found something. I found an injury where his tooth was broken. And that was in the medical report. I said, tell me, and this is what I succeeded in the Supreme Court. I argued, can you inflict a injury on your tooth? Please try any of you. You can hit yourself anywhere on your body part. But the moment you try to hit your tooth, or your mouth will get closed. You will close your mouth as by a reflex action. So these are things which are intuitive. You have to go on in this kind of a manner. Please expand your horizons. As she said, read newspapers, read, if you have lesser briefs, read whatever you can. Read whatever you can. I think I'll wait for Ms. Acharya to say, or others to ask questions. I'll have.
Ma'am, I also have, Maninder ma'am, I have one question which comes a lot, in fact, which is something that really is of concern to many of us, that there is often a lot of uncertainty of client base, which is true for all younger lawyers. I feel particularly more for women lawyers and first generation lawyers. So personally, some of my very close friends who are otherwise promising, lawyers in the profession, they have had to drop out of the profession or, join more organized structures. So nothing wrong in, joining organizations, but, somewhere leave their passion of litigating to join the certainty of organizations. So, what, in your opinion, can be, because you have survived all of that, I'm sure it was not a smooth journey for you. So without compromising on what we like to do, what is the best way to sustain ourselves here? Litigation, which is so addictive and yet so difficult to, to remain in. Ma'am, Maninder ma'am, if you
See,
could.
I cannot sort of give you answer to this, that you do this and then you can survive. What you are saying is very true. What you are saying is very true. To begin with, it is very difficult to get a sustained source of work, sustained supply of work. And why only at the beginning? At every stage. To begin with, when you start, it is difficult to get the work. Then as you grow a little more, then another step comes. Then you want to sort of, set of matters. And also when you become a senior counsel. So it is very difficult to generate work. I know it can be very frustrating. And at times you may ask yourself, like, what are you doing here? I would just share with you that I would, count out how much is the office expense, everything. And then you would think that, is it worth it? But, I would suggest that these periods will be there, but just bear them. Have fewer needs, reduce your expenses, but stay put if you are passionate about litigation. If you are passionate about litigation, stay put. When you don't have matters, listen to others. When they are arguing, read the judgments. Also, I would say that we must stand along with each other, which is required, and which is not there so much. So we should stand with each other so that we can reach out to each other. Those relationships should be built. They are not there so many, but a group is there. It's a very good endeavor. So you can sort of, if you have, like, even if you're not getting money, but if someone has more work, for example, when I didn't have work, I would go to many seniors and ask them, you have something to draft? I won't take any money for that. I'll just do it because I don't have any work. So I remember once I went later on, he was not very senior to me, just 4 or 5 years senior, but he had started getting work. So he had this case where this person, a property dispute in New Friends Colony with the next door neighbor. And that next door neighbor had actually cut a tree. So he said, and he wanted to, put him down. He wanted to do something so that he comes on the negotiating table. So when I went to this senior, now a friend of mine, to ask him as to, is there any work for me to do? Can you give me some work? So he said, he said, look, this is the issue. Can you sort it out? You give me a note on this. Now, I loved reading. So I used to read whatever judgments would come every day. If you don't have work, what else will you do? I would come, keep my bags and go inside the library and start reading. So whatever new judgments are coming. I had read in AIR that a tree act had been passed, and in which it was provided that you couldn't cut the tree without seeking permission. So I made that short note and gave it to him, that what he has done is actually illegal. So that is what he brought his neighbor to the table. And ultimately, I started getting some work. Don't hesitate, approach people, tell them you are there. As Justice Palli said, I would like to be positive about it, but sometimes we women can be invisible to others. We are invisible to others, as in every role, because we've not been here in this profession for a very long time. Men have been here before us. So I won't call it discrimination. Maybe they're not used to, they don't know what all we can do. So I would take it like this. Maybe they don't know what all we can do. They will stand by you. So just don't hesitate, go to people, meet them, ask them, be ready to do any work that comes to you, drafting, anything, just keep yourself busy, reduce your needs if need be, seek help. Both you can seek help from your friends. That's a very human quality. We normally hesitate, but we should not hesitate. Reach out to others, but stay put. And times will come when you will start getting work. Patience is the word, as Justice Palli said. You should stay put. I was also, when I was going through this, soon after, Arthur and Anderson had established their office here. And a friend of mine said they will be paying 25,000 rupees to you per month if you join them. Now, I wasn't even earning 2,500 rupees per month. But I said, no, I can't leave the court. I will not join Arthur and Anderson. And I stayed put slowly, gradually. Maybe the trajectory would have been different if I had gone there. Maybe equally good, not equally good, I don't know. But I knew what I wanted. So if I wanted litigation, I was ready to pay for it. Whatever price. You just stay put. Be passionate about it. Work will come. Don't lose your patience and don't be dispassionate. Meet as many people as you can. Attend, go to seniors, tell them you are there. Ask for work if there is something. There are so many young girls. When I was standing counsel, MCD, standing counsel, additional standing counsel, university, I used to have a lot of work. So there used to be girls who used to come to me, ma'am, we can't join you because we have our problems, we have children, this, that. I would say, no problem, you draft so many counters for me per counter, I can pay you so much, and I would my fee with them. And so there are a number of opportunities. Don't be dispassionate, don't be disappointed. Haath pair marte raho. It will come.
Reaching out is a very important takeaway from here.
I want to add here for
something as simple as just the suggestion to just go and seek work from seniors, because there's nothing wrong with that, and
maybe they are also looking out for somebody who can help them.
It's something very important to this. As she said, you have to survive, and we women, see, that's why when I joined in the evening, I said I was very happy to see so many women coming together on an informal group. So what I would say is that I will want women to promote each other.
Yes.
You must have been seen. Especially the ones who are appearing on original sites would know. In a suit, you will have one male colleague promoting having his friend coming for defendant. But how many of you have done it? Ms. Kajal Chandra was here. Ask her, how many of you have done it? You never think of women. That's the problem. That is the problem, and that is why women are. Otherwise, if you were, or even if 100 of you who are there together would promise to each other that whenever we have an opportunity, we'll pick one of these people, you will overreach every problem. That is because there are so many short issues where you want a colleague, just a supporting counsel, just what. But I don't see, I'm very sorry to say, even coming this side, I don't see. I will see a lot of counsels, supporting counsels also, all from all friends. You are not promoting each other. That's one very important. This is adding to what Ms. Acharya has said, but it is something very, very important. You have to please.
Also, one more thing, be happy when someone else succeeds. Justice Palli, today Justice Palli, Justice Pratibha Singh, Justice Hima Kohli became a Chief Justice. A woman governor gave her an oath. I mean, what an exhilarating moment it is. A woman governor giving oath to a woman Chief Justice. It brought goosebumps, you know. And to see them there gives you hope that you can also be there. So be happy. Someone has succeeded. Maybe there will be way. When first I became an ASG and I went to that room, there was this wooden board on which there were around 15 names, men names. Let me tell you, I was not so happy about becoming ASG as I was of seeing a woman's name on that board.
Exactly.
I thought today a ceiling has been broken. Delhi High Court has an ASG. So now at least it's fallen upon me to work and show that we can perform. So that gives hopes to others. Others won't have to at least break that ceiling now. They'll come, they'll have been there. Like when others became in Supreme Court, things became easier for the next ones. So therefore, we must promote each other. We must stand by each other. And as Justice Palli said, and also, we must be happy when one of us grows up. We must think that, you know, it will, when I was there, when I joined, there were 3-4, first day, there were 3 to 4 women who came to me and they said, we have been removed from panel without any reason. She was very good advocate in her own right. I'm not taking names of very, very senior person. And none of them lacked merit. I didn't hesitate one moment. There was one man also. I didn't hesitate even for a moment in writing a letter and saying and recommending them that their panel should be continued. Why not? If they deserve it. Because they were deserving. So I'm saying we need to stand with each other.
Ma'am, you spoke about being invisible. In fact, when the entire series Virtual Canteen started, so one of the learning has been that there are so many women who are doing so well. You are doing so well as far as commercial law is concerned. There are, you know, and we have hosted speakers who have come and spoken about. So today, when we speak about senior advocates, women's senior advocates, we already have so many names now whom we have heard about. So the idea of this platform was also to provide that visibility that
yes,
there are women, they are doing excellent amount of work. You can reach out to them, you can brief them for your matters, you know, both as whether it is bar or it is bench. So, and in past, like from June when we started, we do it on 2nd and 4th of Friday evening, and there has not been a single evening when we have to look for women achievers. So that itself is it's a great
yes.
So the idea is to bring the focus, the light back on the amount of great work that is being done. And ma'am said and Justice Palli said about the standing for each other. It is sometimes, you know, and again, not drawing any sort of a cliche, but as women, we tend to be harsher on each other. You know, we in terms of judgment. And I want to say about
absolutely,
yes,
absolutely.
You're right.
Acharya ma'am was very supportive, and I remember because as a government counsel, I going to her and she said, "Look, I also need to know that who are the women who are lawyers who are practicing, because a lot of time the judges keep asking us to give the names, and that was a kind of learning for myself, that because I'm also a very hesitant person, a very introvert, so it takes a lot of courage to speak up and say that yes, I can also work. And so that was that one word from her in one of the evenings. It stayed with me that yes, you don't have to be hesitant, you don't have to feel ashamed.
I would say it is your right. I would say it is your right. If you need any solution, if you need to bounce off a matter of a senior, you're going to argue a matter, you need to bounce it off somebody that this path you are taking, is it all right? We've all done it. It's not a question of any gender. I remember there was one Mr. G.D. Gupta who was a very known senior lawyer. Every day at 9 o'clock. Every day, every other day. And he used to do puja from 9 to 10. And he started doing puja from 8:30 to 9:30. Because I would tell him, sir, main ye argue karne wali hu. Is it all right? You think it is all right? So he would tell me. I have walked into the seniors' offices and said to them that this is my first case of evidence. How do I go about it? And even today, if I have to bounce off what I have to argue, I would not hesitate in asking any one of my colleagues. We always discuss Justice Palli, me, Justice Jyoti. Sometimes we were opposing each other, sometimes we were on the same side, and tooth and nail we would oppose inside. But outside we will bounce off. What do you think of this? I remember when she was doing this matter of this lady officers, and she said, I'm going to argue the matter. It was before Justice Kaur and in the criminal side court. So I said, I'll come with you. I will sit with you. And I actually sat with her for the half the matter because I felt that there was something great happening. And all right, I will sit with her to whatever is happening. So don't hesitate. Just go and this is your right to ask from seniors, women or men. I mean, lawyers have no gender. You just knock and ask. Look, this is why. Somebody will say no to you. Some people will say yes. Some people will surely say yes. And a relationship will be born.
That's correct.
That's your right accordingly.
I think Sunita and I still have a long list of questions, but we shouldn't be greedy. We would like to open it to the audience now, since it's almost time to be wrapping up. I think
Miss Ojha, Sunita also did a commendable job in that matter, because that was, as she referred to that matter, Domestic Violence Act, that was a matter which actually turned a lot. And for me, I was a judge for about 3 years. I had to take a view which I felt, my heart told me, I didn't want to go against any judgment of the Supreme Court or anything, because I could not. But she actually, I will say, guided me through a lot of provisions which helped me charter that judgment. I'm saying, I mean, so that's what I said, and they don't know their worth. Probably they don't know their worth.
I used to hold outside the court when he was not a judge. And we would both open our laptops. And I would say, please, Justice Mr. Sethi, Ravinder Sethi, so many times I've stopped him outside the court. Sir, jaldi batao. You just go and ask. I mean, some people will be uncomfortable. That is all right. And be together. Yes, all of us who've grown together, and we had that camaraderie. And in fact, when Justice Palli and Justice Jyoti were elevated for quite some time, that we used to discuss a lot of law in the corridors. And not only we used to have discuss the syllabus of our children, exchange notes. Justice Palli would get notes for me. So we stood together with each other. So that is very important. Men or women, knock the door.
That's correct.
You're right.
We need to continue that tradition, ma'am.
Mrinalini is smiling. This first time Mrinalini actually approached me for this.
Absolutely, ma'am.
So we did not come.
Finally, we've had you.
And I found up also to be very positive. I cannot mention here, but one or two things when I meet her privately, and it really touched me. You know, when I was ASD, there were so many people to whom to give matters to, and you could get only very thin markings. She says, ma'am, no problem. Whatever I get, I try to do best. So that's what I'm saying, that you may not get a very great matter to do. You may get a small matter, do it in a half.
In that sense, ma'am, government panels do open up a lot of opportunities for, especially, when one is launching independent, and so that's.
Yes, you should try. Apply, for example, Delhi government's selection was absolutely on applications basis. And even Union of India has a very large panel. First apply, don't hesitate in applying. You guys, yes, there is a lot of competition, but do apply. Do apply, keep your ears and eyes open. Delhi University's panel is right now open for anybody who has completed 7 years of practice. They need very good lawyers. Right now, it is open. I had told some younger person to apply, so I know about it. So apply, try your best. Until then, legal aid committee is there. Then middle income legal aid committee is there. As an ASG, I was sitting in that interview, and I was so impressed by the youngsters. I mean, one was better than the other. One was better than the other when we interviewed. It became so difficult that we had to increase the seats. Therefore, apply. There are a lot of opportunities. You can apply Delhi Legal Aid. You can apply Delhi Middle Income Legal Aid Committee. And then, of course, there are various panels like universities. Ambedkar University is there. IP University is there. Try your best. Sometimes you will succeed.
I think Nandita wants to ask a question. Nandita, please go ahead.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask this question to both of you, to Honorable Justice Palli as well as Maninder ma'am. I mean, I have so many experiences over the last 15, 18, 20 years with both of you that have inspired me, that have got me out of my usual cynical and depressive nature, because both of you were such happy and positive judges. But after hearing you today, I have a question which I think applies to a lot of the ladies in this group. Did being mothers give you the positivity and the happy nature that helped you be very pleasant and patient lawyers? Or was it that because you are pleasant and patient lawyers, you managed the double role of mother and lawyer, which is both difficult? So,
Nandita, if I will say that, I feel motherhood, of course, helped me in being a more positive person, because that's what I said in the beginning also, that you have to remember this profession is your passion. It's a part of your life. If you are leading a complete life, you will be a very satisfied person otherwise. So even if you go and walk into a courtroom and probably you thought you did your best, and maybe sometimes one of the judges was a bit, you felt was unfair to you, though I wouldn't say he would be, you will walk out, just dust your gown and you will feel happy again. That, I'm not saying it's only motherhood, but your completeness of your life. If you are feeling that you have not got something in your personal life, that will reflect on your profession also. That's why I always say, unless you are a happy person as a whole, you have that feeling of satisfaction, you will not be able to even if you deliver, you will be always cribbing. That's now Ms. Acharya will, let's see what she has.
I wouldn't say, I would put it like this, that I had motherhood. That's a very personal decision, and also the grace of God. So I would put it in a more holistic manner, that by nature, I like to take the bulls by the horn. And whatever problems are there, I don't cry about it. I don't think about it. I know that I have to deal with me. I mean, I have to do do haath karne padte hain zindagi ke saath. So I do it. So basically, and I also believe that you should be very positive person. Look, we can't control everything in our lives. Everything can't be controlled. There will be wrong things. There will be injustices which will happen to you. You will be wrongly judged. You will not get your due many times. You may not. It will happen. It is life. Nothing is promised to you in life. Or everything, all these things can happen to you. People can talk to you, but you should just tune off. Just tune off. I mean, and just don't, you're not responsible for that. What you are responsible for is dealing with it. So just deal with it. And I normally don't like to respond back to anything wrong or unjust. I choose my battles. You choose your battles. Don't fight smaller battles. Don't fight petty battles. Fight bigger battles. Like your profession is one big battle. Breaking those frameworks in which the capability is a big battle. That you are not only good for family matters, or you're not only good for these kind of matters or that kind of matter. You're good for everything. You are an advocate. You are a lawyer. So fight those battles. Don't fight small battles. And motherhood, for me, of course, I was lucky to be a mother. It has given me immense pleasure. It has also evolved me. Being a mother evolves you. It makes you a little more broad-hearted. It makes you forgiving. It makes you more welcoming. Children are of the next generation. They bring a lot of new things into your life. They keep you growing. They don't let you go rigid. Here I would like to, I'm a little deviating, but I would like to tell you all, I had my children who were at the difference of only 2 years. So, and by the time my second child was born, I had enough work. Like I had started having one matter every day. I had finished my 5 years. So I started calling, I looked for a steno who used to come every day, o'clock in the morning. So I used to dictate from 5 to 8 every day, right from the first month of the birth of my second child. So that in the evening I could go out with them. I used to close my office at 6:30 so that I could spend my evenings with them in the park. Because I didn't want to think later on that I never took my children to park. I was sitting in my dingy office. So I had this steno right. I used to always think, aaj ye na aaye, matlab it's so cold. But he would knock at 5 o'clock every day. So, and also teaches you to do work more efficiently, time management effectively. But it is not only motherhood, anything. Create your own happiness. Have friends, have hobbies, have friends outside profession also. Very important to have friends outside profession because you're forever talking law. So when you meet people from different professions, you see their different struggles, different talks, you learn a lot, you get inspired, and also have hobbies. It's only a part of your life. It's not the life. So make your life full. I love traveling. I love reading. I mean, if I love walking, I really like going for long walks. I like talking to new peoples. I have a hunger for written word. I read across various genres. I am a movie buff. And I have never had a difficulty of not finding time for my hobbies. So build a life. Motherhood, no motherhood. Build a life with whatever you like. Make it a whole package.
I'm talking about happiness. What
That's
makes
what
you
to add
happy?
to that. I don't know how many of you managed to do it. At least till my daughter was in college, every Friday after 3 o'clock, I would reach from court and we would see a movie every Friday. Because she was very fond of movies. I don't think I missed any movie. Now that she's working, now maybe she's also a little and she's in Bombay for the present. So I don't have that kind of time. Otherwise, so that's when she said, do what you want to. That's what made me happy. Saturday again, you would be on an office, but every Friday, after 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, there was nothing much to do in the High Court. So most of the movies I've seen first day, first shows, at least for those 15 years when my daughter was in school and college, not now. But I hope some of you imbibe those habits that do something which makes you and your family and your close people happy. And as Ms. Acharya said, very, very important to have friends outside the profession. That is something you must all learn. That's something very important.
This is not women-centric. It's for both men and women.
It's nothing to do with women. Yeah. It's only that it gives you a different high when you have friends from other professions. You talk about things. You are not talking only. Your mind is out of. You don't have to talk only of court.
Also, one more thing: when you're talking to a doctor, when you're talking to a corporate woman, for example, I'll give you an example, or when you're reading about them, like Sheryl Sandberg, who was the first CEO of the Facebook. She has written a very good book, very beautiful book, which I will recommend all of you to read. It's called Lean In. Lean In. So she became a CEO. She was the first COO of the Facebook, a woman CEO. Till the time she had her first child, or she conceived, she had never noticed where the parking lot was. It seems the parking lot was very far off from where the upper management sat. But when she became pregnant and she needed to use the loo, and or it became difficult for her to walk, she noticed that actually the parking is very far off. And then she made it short. So that's what happens when women are put in certain situations. It's not that the men are against them, but women sometimes have special needs which are noticed by women. So she noticed it. When she had her first baby, now she needed to have the meetings. Now what to do? So she wanted to breastfeed the child also. So she's written in her book, Lean In. She called all the men boardroom to her drawing room. She covered herself, and while breastfeeding, she held the meeting. So these are the examples which tell you, when you read there, you sometimes inspiration may not be the next door. You may need to look for it. You may need to read about somebody. You may need to see a movie. Or maybe a doctor may tell you her life is even more difficult. A corporate woman's life struggles may be more difficult. Maybe the competition is still stiffer there. Then you will see the positive sides of your profession. Or maybe you can exchange notes and it will help you. So having friends outside the profession and reading is one habit is very good.
Yeah, I'm talking about happiness. What makes you truly happy?
Truly happy?
You are asking me? Let's.
Ma'am, Acharya ma'am is talking about being happy. I said,
what makes me truly happy? I become happy very easily. I don't need big things to make me happy. A good conversation can make me very happy. A good conversation where I'm at the same page with somebody. I love languages. So watching all kinds of different movies in different languages, hearing the sound of them with subtitles makes me happy. Reading makes me happy. Walking makes me happy. Hearing a very good argument makes me happy. Of course,
and any
being with my children makes me happy.
Any New Year resolution?
I normally don't make resolutions. I mean, I continue whatever I have to do.
So with your love for books, your love for words, and your stint in journalism, do we have a book coming from your side?
I really don't know. I am too lazy to write. But maybe one day I will. Maybe I would like to write about the journey of acceptance of women in different roles in this.
We look forward, ma'am. We would absolutely look forward to it.
I think my takeaway is no excuses when it comes to work, but party harder, have fun. And get
party harder, you won't have much time for party harder.
Today is a Friday.
But work very hard. Lord Denning said that once you, why you should draft very well. My clerk used to be very angry with me that I would do one farm and read it after 2 days. And then after I had read it, after third time only, then we'll like fine. He will say, don't do it, ma'am. Sab log aise hi file kar dete hain. I said, the Lord Denning once in those books, when we all read those small books he has written, long after, we are not there, our drafts are still moving around in the profession. They have our name there. So add value to whatever you do. Take your work very seriously. I mean, it's God's grace that you got something to do. Do it with all your might. Do best as compared to others, but with all your might you do it as well as you can. And don't seek validation from anyone. In your own mind, you think whether you've done your best or not. You can come back and write also that today I faltered in this. My preparation was not good on this count. And then next time you can take care about that. But take your work very seriously. You have a difficult, it is a difficult profession. You can't take it, you have to take it very seriously. There is no other. And do it at the cost of every other thing. Sometimes I have done the profession at the cost of my sleep, at the cost of various other things which normal women get to do, to shop, to go here and there. I never had time for them, but I don't regret it. I don't regret it because...
In fact, on this, Radhika has a question. I'll just speak it out on her behalf. Radhika Kolluru has a question to both the speakers. That was the drive always there from within, or were there others who saw your potential and also inspired and guided you to work hard and achieve whatever that you could?
Justice Palli can answer first.
See, I think the drive always has to be from within. This is not, especially in this profession, it has to be, as you all know, it's full of struggles. So unless you have that drive, you are not going to stick on. This is something nobody, and not too many people, especially when we joined, not too many people were there to push you, say that yes, you must stick on. This drive has to be from within. That's, at least that's my very, very clear view on that. It has to be, if you have it in you, then you will be happy with whatever kind of work you're getting, and you will go climbing stairs. There's no doubt about it.
I would just add a little bit to what Justice Palli said. I agree with her. To begin with, the drive has to be within you. Because it is that drive which will keep you sleepless after, when you feel that you couldn't argue the way you should have argued. Or maybe you should have taken a matter in a different manner. You could have some more standing time while arguing. It is that drive, it is that power to urge to dream which keeps you sleepless. So the drive comes from within. But I won't say that people, but there are others along the way, and you keep on adding to it. But some drive has to be there in it. You can't overall be changed by others if you don't have it in you. Drive has to be there. But if you watch others, if you see others, you see, for example, as youngsters, there is not only, this struggle is not only of one youngster that work is difficult to come. This is the struggle of every other youngster. So take heart from that and go ahead. Keep the drive. If you don't have a matter, read the judgments. Constitutional law पे एक हफ्ता पढ़ लो, अगले हफ्ते किसी और सब्जेक्ट पे पढ़ लो, किसी दिन बैठ के you can hear someone argue. Keep the thing going. But drive has to be within to begin with. But yes, you go on adding the fuel to that drive by looking at others and by being inspired from others.
Nandita has another question. So we can have this as the last question for the session.
So you can ask her now. I am free. My arbitration is over now.
Sure. So Nandita, please go ahead.
My order for today.
Sorry, ma'am. Since there were none others, I thought I'll take advantage. This is to Honorable Justice Palli. You said at the beginning that you should follow your intuition. So I recollect I was working as a junior for Mr. Anand Grover, who was doing for the first time HIV/AIDS rights. At that time, there was no awareness. And Honorable Justice Palli was the lawyer for the armed forces. So you were the opposing counsel. And when he came up with this concept that just because somebody becomes HIV, they should not be terminated or stigmatized, I remember you reacted so positively. We thought that in the chamber, he had said, the opposite counsel will come on us with a ton of bricks and this and that. And you took it so positively. And, he came out and said, learn fairness. So this concept of following your intuition, didn't you feel fear that, the armed forces will get after you, that why did you not oppose? And to all of us as lawyers, many times, your intuition tells you something, but you also feel scared that, maybe the risk won't pay off and the client will get after you, both private and government. You may have an instinct that if the judge is offering a settlement, let me go with it. But the client may say, aapne kyun maan liya? So today, you spoke about instinct. And so, how does one find the courage to just stick with one's instinct, or what are the pros and cons?
See, Nandita, you're right. Sometimes it can backfire, but most of the time, your intuition will not let you down. You obviously, if it's a settlement kind of a thing, you can't do it without your client. But even then, I think there are ways, and women are very good at telling their clients. If they get down to that, they are very good. They can persuade them very well. So I would say that even as a government counsel, I have taken that risk, and I would tell them, all right, if you think it's not proper, you will be in more difficulty. You will have these strictures coming from court. So your intuition, even now I feel your intuition, your instinct will tell you, and this is a special art which more women have. So that's, you have to balance it. It's not that you will just go only with your instinct and intuition, but your intuition and instinct will always guide you, Take it from me. At least with me, I have always done what my heart has told me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I haven't listened to my, but more what of my, even in court, I will, if the matter in law, there is some, you go by your first, that's what we are meant to be, do. So that's I will still stick to that stand.
Kritika, can't say no to Kritika. Kritika also has one more question. Please go ahead, Kritika.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ma'am, I wanted to ask both Justice Palli and you that do you feel that there are some mistakes that female lawyers make more often while arguing a matter or presenting a brief, and how to avoid them?
I don't think there are any mistakes which are specific to the gender. No, don't ever think like that. That's the wrong way to think. You are a lawyer. Once you have donned the coat and the gown, you are a lawyer. There are even if someone tells you that, he or she is wrong. You have donned the coat and you are a lawyer. So you may commit a mistake.
No, but
if you have 5 years, someone with 5 years may commit the same mistakes, man or woman. That can happen. It can happen because of inexperience, because you're growing, you're adding to your skills, but not because you are a woman. No, there are no woman-specific mistakes. But one thing that I forgot to tell you, and I'll be feeling honesty, ethics, and arguing in accordance with law. That's what we are for, should not be compromised at any cost. This is what I feel. So you should always argue.
No, only one thing.
You should be ethical.
I will probably differ from her on one, because now that I'm on this side of the bench, I can say, see, sometimes what I find is some women lawyers are either not too sure of themselves, even if they have a very good point, they are not too sure. They are somehow probably maybe conditioned to look for, assurance from some other side. That I don't want. That is that's what I started with, confidence. But yes, of course, sometimes you don't go overboard thinking that the other man is trying to put me down. Don't get into that also. So from this perspective, I can say from the bench, some girls come up with such good arguments, some good pleas, but they are not too sure of themselves. They have to exude that confidence. So don't look for any assurance from anybody else. If you've read your file, you're sure on the facts, on the legal position, please don't do that. That's one mistake, especially some girls still tend to make. Though, and that's where you should remember, as Ms. Acharya says, you are a lawyer, you are a lawyer. That's it. Bottom line. That's it.
Don't look at the other side. Just look at the judge. You have to make submissions to the judge. And also develop an ability to tune off. A mature person or a mature lawyer develops an ability to tune off. I mean, everything can't be taken care of in this world. So just
thank you so much.
Ethics, following honesty, preparation.
Yeah, I think we'll have to wrap up the session. Though one doesn't feel like, I think we should have now maybe more than just twice a month, it seems like, because these sessions are always so I mean, inspiring is a cliche, but something much deeper and warm, very warm. I mean, the feeling is of warmth. So thank you so much, Justice Palli and Maninder ma'am. Thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedules. We also must thank Mrinalini and Kritika. Mrinalini is always there to just support us, back us with her coordination and hosting the session online. And Kritika saved us last minute to help us with the posters, which are also very important for letting everybody know that we are doing this. And
I can interject, Gayatri,
I'm so sorry, Gayatri. And of course,
and Nandita ma'am.
Yes, Nandita ma'am, and in fact all the other seniors in the group, though they keep saying that don't call us ma'am and don't call us seniors, but it's very difficult to do that when you're actually looking up to all these people. And like I keep saying personally, that from being in a kind of a cynical stage in between to having joined this group and finding the positivity back, this is a big takeaway for so many of us. So thank you so much.
Though you've wrapped up, but I can't help myself. I have to say one thing. And if you permit me, just one small thing. I would say that you should not think so much in terms of man and woman. I would say that it's your journey, chart out your way. Believe you me, if you really work hard and you prepare your briefs, no client is going to think like this, that you're a man or a woman. The client wants only work. And even the judiciary doesn't think like this, that you're a man or woman. Just do your work and argue the best. Small percentage, if you feel that some clients or some colleagues have this, tune off. But I think if you do your work very well, you will be a lawyer. You should think of yourself as a lawyer, not as a woman.
That's correct. That's perfect. That's exactly what she said. She said the judiciary doesn't think like that. There is no doubt about it. I mean, we've had matters where we were taken as a second counsel, but once you start arguing, you were actually taken. The bigger corporate firms were also willing to take you as the first counsel. So neither the judiciary nor the clients actually think of it. They only want the work. You have to be sure of yourself.
For a small moment, somebody might think, "Dekhe, what will happen now?" But once you start arguing, once you show what you've done, I think all that gets washed up to a great percentage.
We have got a lot of positive
Small
messages
percentage.
today.
My advice would be to tune off. Not think about it. Thank you. It was very, very pleasurable.
Before we leave,
positivity.
So before we leave, we meet again on 29th of January with a new session of the topic is attack on love marriages and freedom of choice. Our speakers are going to be Justice Depi Shah, Jagmati Sangwan, Kirti Singh, and the same will be moderated by me and Gayatri Varmani. We see you all on 29th of January.
I'm sorry, Gayatri. I took your, said the name wrongly, but it was Gayatri who helped us with the posters. And now we are seeing her in the next session. Yeah.
The next session we meet again on 29th of January.
And I want to just take 1 minute off and thank both of you, ma'am. And you have given a huge responsibility on us with your message that stand for each other. And today we take, on this platform, we assure you that we will continue to stand for each other. And with all your guidance and blessings, we'll continue to hold more such sessions, discussions, and get women more into, keep the visibility, keep the focus on the work, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Your energy rubbed on me. So I took a lot of energy from all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I was worried you had to leave at 6 o'clock. So we were.
No, that's all right. I had actually sought the liberty. I thought that I'll be able to go back, but it's all right. It was very pleasurable.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you and have a happy weekend. We're going to start.
Happy weekend, Justice Palli. Happy weekend.
Yeah.
To all of you.
Time to watch a movie.
Yes, time to watch.
Yes, we will.
I have time to go for a dinner. That's all I can say.